Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the F1 2025 My Team Career Mode. We're just about to head into round number 3 of the season in Japan, and it looks like, according to the little weather chart here, we are going to see some rain in the qualifying session, although it should be dry in the race. So as I mentioned on the last episode, and we'll reiterate this one, this will probably be the last of the post-audio recorded ones. I'm going to try moving in the next round, round 4, to a more live commentary and then chopping that up. The idea being hopefully that it saves me a significant chunk of the process of not having to sit down and find time to now do the audio recording like I do with this one and just capture it from what I do in the race. I will obviously focus more on trying to get the same kind of insights and things I'm thinking about throughout the race that I talk about here when I'm doing the actual race. The other added benefit is I will typically not lose what's happened in the season. There are sometimes in previous seasons where I've gotten a couple of races ahead as far as driving the races and recording before the commentary's recorded, and I get all out of sorts. So by having that commentary happen right then and there won't be any future knowledge. There won't be really any, I know what's going to happen later in the race kind of things. It's going to be live reaction, my thoughts as they happen there. And should also help me streamline the release process and keep me more motivated to keep the series going. But it's been fun driving the game so far. I've been having a good time, still getting the difficulty and stuff dialed in for sure, but it's looking to be a decent challenge. I'm sure there are some performance patches that they'll need to have. The AI is a little strong in straight lines and out of traction events. They're pretty crazy on that. So hopefully we get a little bit of a dial back of that. But right now there's kind of the push and pull because they're not very good in the braking zones. So it looks like a little bit of rain coming right at the end. And of course, as usual, we're taking that fresh gearbox every race. And we should, I think, start to see the engines. Yeah, plenty fine there. Yeah, everything's pretty good, although putting in another race weekend end will definitely put some pain on them.
A warm welcome, everybody, from a venue that has seen plenty of sensational laps over the years. Remember, Verstappen in 23, Vettel in 2019, some phenomenal pole laps. But whose will it be today?
All right, here we are, winding up for the first flying lap on fresh set of soft tires around the historic Suzuka circuit, down into turn 1, flat basically on the way in. Looks like there was a little hesitation as we're getting kind of a banker lap attempt in. A bit of oversteer snapping on the exit and then through the S's. The front tires really struggling to grip up around here, especially the first couple of laps, because you need to run them so high pressure to keep the temperatures managed. And lots of swappers there coming out of turn 7. Now through the Degners, number 1. And big lockup on the front right through 2, and into the gravel we go. So that will be the end of that lap. We will not really be pushing on to try and get a banker. We'll just go straight back to the pit lane and try again. And here we are getting ready to start another one as a Williams that was on a lap is on the way. And you can see tire temperatures are not where I want them to be, and rain starts falling. And I was starting to wonder why the car was not heating up, and that's the reason. The track had actually gotten a little bit damp. A little bit of a visual bug that's happening right now where the track starts to get wet a little bit before the rain indicators, the droplets start to show. So very low grip. Now trying to just see maybe there's enough traction to work my way around this circuit and try and get something in. And there are other cars that are on a lap. Maybe we can get just ahead of the couple of them. But you can see that tire temperature just not really moving for the front tires, and just how tentative and how much I'm having to make corrections with the steering wheel, obviously. Slick tires on a wet surface is not a combination for great success. We do keep it on the track this time as we're not pushing quite so hard. And we've been shuffled down as a couple of cars have crossed the line. We're down to P20, a bit of a lockup on the way into the hairpin. And lots of wheel spin on the way out. We've been pushed down to P22, so we are dead last at the moment, obviously, because we have no lap time on the board yet. Will we be able to put in something that's decent enough? I mean, usually you're carrying well over 100 miles an hour through Spoon Curve there. This time, all the way down to an 80 mile an hour minimum apex speed. 130R, still just about flat out. Just the downforce doing the job there and into the Casio triangle. Final couple of corners. Yeah, there's the big chunder steer from the tires no longer gripping up. And dance it on the throttle till it's pointed the right direction. A little bit. DRS was still up in, yeah, 140.275.
Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry. We'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
And it only kept raining harder, so no opportunity to improve. Our teammate up inside the top 10, though.
No fewer than 12 world champions have been crowned at Suzuka, but who will be tasting glory today at the checkered flag? We're approaching lights out, and we can't wait for the Japanese Grand Prix. 18 corners make up a lap of the incredible figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit, with 10 to the right and 8 to the left, for a distance of 3.6 miles. Average lap speeds around here are fairly quick. If it stays dry, then expect somewhere in the region of 136 miles per hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Russell, Liam Lawson, Doohan, Fernando Alonso, Pierce, Piastri, and Ollie Behrman. Ocon, Norris, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Sainz. Hamilton, Stroll, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Pierre Gasly. Albon, Hulkenberg, Martins, and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And alongside me today, a man who I'm always pleased to see join me in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. Glorious Suzuka. It's a bit like Silverstone, an iconic track for which we couldn't have an F1 season without it. And so much for the drivers to think about around here.
Absolutely, Crofty. The only figure-of-8 circuit that we have on the calendar, and you kind of wonder, why don't we have more? Because it's such a good format. The drivers love this track. It's got a great flow to it, a fantastic circuit. Not the best for overtaking, but my goodness, from inside the car, it's a real treat for the drivers.
Okay, back of the grid. It's not great, but let's make the most of it. Good luck.
So quite a bit of work to be done in this one, starting, it looks like somebody took a grid penalty and starting behind us. So strategically, as usual, looking for the two-stop, just based on the way the tires are wearing out. This time, though, I think we're going to take the early soft tire so we can drop into some clean air at an earlier stage and then use 2 sets of mediums to hopefully carve our way forward. So here we are. The 5 red lights are up. And away they go. A couple of hard tires ahead of us. We get a good jump on Hulkenberg and Albon. And now we're just trying to pick our way through up past Bortoleto. Also on the hard tires, so he's not got the grip. A little side-by-side contact between him and I. Antonelli squeezing us to the inside as we slot in behind Carlos Sainz, and it looks like we've made a good 5 positions at the start here, so pretty decent. Now it's trying to just keep our nose nice and clean, see what happens from the cars ahead of us, maybe get an opportunity to dive up. Usually the first run through the hairpin after the Degners is a good overtaking opportunity because the field is so bunched up and they like to take that that normal racing line, does the AI. But, you know, they'll attack if they need to. So here we are out of the Degners, and this is going to be the big opportunity on the brakes, up the inside of both Sainz and now Antonelli as we get on the throttle, putting him a little bit out onto the exit curbing, squeezing him to compromise his traction a bit. So we're able to get ahead up into 14th now, and looking at the back of Ollie Behrman, also on hard tires, a car we need to get past pretty quickly. Looks like Lewis Hamilton is just ahead of him on a set of soft tires, so we'll start to see the offset in what the tires can do. We're going to burn a lot of battery here, get a good run on Ollie Behrman, and up the inside of 130R. That job will be done on him. And now we're looking ahead at Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. And he's got Esteban Ocon just ahead of him. We will need to use some more battery in this one just to make sure that we don't get re-attacked from the car behind. AI just very strong on the straights here. Something about them getting out a spoon curve. They get the throttle down nice. Really, it's not even that they get out the throttle down initially. I think they just have a lot of battery deployment to play with out of on the way up to 130R. And then out of the final chicane, they just get a good launch. So I think it does look like the AI probably has more battery deployment to play with than what their car necessarily should. So hopefully that is something that also gets a little bit of a tweak when the patches start rolling in. Not not undrivable, but definitely a little unbalanced at this point. I believe that's our teammate. Just about 5 or 6 cars ahead of us. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then us. So yeah. And if we're sitting P12, I think it is, he's well inside the points and pushing on. Although, of course, as the race shapes out, we will typically see them, our teammate, fall back as well, just because our car still not very great on the tire wear situation. Hence why we're having to 2-stop everywhere when other cars are going to have the opportunity to do the 1-stop. We've got the DRS help. Now we're just settling in. You can see just up at the front there, our teammate was getting passed on the way. It looks like he's been overtaken. So we're 13th. So yeah, our teammate would have been about P8. We're going to jump ahead now, lap 6 of 27, and it's been a rough couple of laps for our teammate as we've caught he's fallen all the way through the pack, and he is now just directly in front of us. Hamilton goes through. We've got Antonelli, though, on our gearbox. We've used a lot of battery in defense already. We're using even more. We're about to be out of batteries. Move to the inside, make him go the long way around. I didn't even see that my DRS had closed that early. But we hold the inside line, make him fight us for it. We still have decent grip on the softs compared to the mediums. They were holding together decently, not great. You can definitely see they're falling off quite a bit, but a lot of time lost to our teammate just ahead as Hamilton is now really starting to open the gap. As our F1 team now riding P12, P13. We're still like dead last in the official performance chart. So, I'm not too upset with what we've been able to do. We've scored some points already in this season with Pierce. We're gonna hope to get some more before this race weekend is out. And it's a good start. We're up to P13, and I don't think anybody's made a pit stop yet that would shuffle me out of the order. Or maybe there is. I think I see a. Oh no, that's a V carb. That's not a Red Bull dot. Red Bull is out way in the front there. Ferrari of Leclerc on the mini-map just as they're entering the final turn now. And a pretty big gap to the first Mercedes of George Russell. We've managed to open up a bit of a gap to Antonelli behind us. I think we may just have him without DRS and, an opportunity to work our way around without being under attack into turn 1 for once. But we're on our way into the pits this lap. And we are closing quite a bit on our teammate. He's on the medium tires, I believe. Yeah, he's on the mediums. So not sure why his tires fell off so much compared to mine. I'm typically not very kind to the tires in the F1 games around Suzuka. Usually pretty rough with them. But Antonelli is now made up that gap that we had down the pit straight the last time, so he's definitely looking quick on those medium tires. Our softs are definitely not too happy at this stage. See little tiny wiggles as we get out of the slow traction zones. A rear limited circuit, I guess kind of a balanced circuit. The slow corners really eat up the rears. the high speed eats up the front. Well, yeah, I guess it's might be technically a little more front limited of a circuit than rear limited. Antonelli, huge run on us. We're not going to defend. He's not going to get quite close enough to attack us down through 130R. And that's good because I really don't want to be going side by side with him through the chicane when I've got to peel into the pits on this lap. So here we go into the pit lane entry, get the brakes on, and slowed down as we head in. Hoping for a good stop from the team. Right in that first pit box. All right, off go the soft tires, on go the mediums. Looks like a V-carb coming in right behind us, and we're going to be able to get out ahead of him. And we should have some nice clean air ahead of us. A little chip in the front wing, not affecting any performance, definitely just cosmetic at this point. But I think we had a little nudge. Little nudge of another car at the in the first lap, and that's what's picked up that tiny bit of damage. But now, got to get these medium tires heated up and then start pressing onward. It's an opportunity to undercut and start working our way through the field around a track that's tough to overtake and make up some distance to the points paying positions. In P13 when we came in, so the opportunity if a DNF or two plus some good pace might get us into the points. But Hajar is in. He's on a set of softs behind us, so he's definitely committing to the 2-stop. And we'll stay on board with this lap, as we'll see when the first batch of cars make their stops into the pit lane, where we come out in relation to them. You can see I've moved the ERS deployment up to the hot lap mode, so we're just going to use some extra battery without worrying about using the overtake button to drain it too fast. I just want to give a little bit of extra deployment, a little bit of extra speed on these critical laps in clean air. Here we go, Antonelli, Gasly in the pit lane ahead of us. Hamilton is in the pits. It looks like they're just starting to get moving. We're using now a bunch of the overtake mode, and we've managed to just clear Antonelli. So kind of even Stevens when it comes to where we were at. I think we made up about a second or so on Hamilton. We're going to jump back ahead up to 11 now, and a couple more cars that we're going to clear in the pit lane. And unfortunately, we're going to catch Jack Doohan right here. And he's still getting those tires up to temperature on the way out of the pit lane. He's on soft, so they should be relatively quick. Hamilton is dashed off ahead of us. And now he's starting to put some pace in, but now we're still just ahead of our teammate. So P15, P16 is the combination of the two of us. So we've managed to jump our teammate via the undercut. He is on the soft tires, so also committing to that 2-stop strategy. And should ideally have a little better pace than us at this stage of the race. And I just want to stay attached, attempt to stay attached to the DRS zone of Jack Doohan ahead of us. The more we can use that DRS to help, and it looks like one of the Red Bulls is in the pits from the lead. According to the minimap, an Aston Martin making its way into the pit lane as well. So the last kind of bits of the first set of pit stops I think should be shaking out. Anybody that's staying out much longer is probably going to be trying to gamble on the 1-stop. Whereas we have that 2-stop. Yeah, Hulkenberg is in. We're by him. We're by Behrman. And Alonso just ahead of Doohan. And once again, a little bit of time lost because we had to slow down with the cars rejoining through turns 1 and 2 in front of us. And we've definitely taken quite a bit out of the battery. Our kind of attempts to use hot lap to undercut are done, so I changed that up pretty soon. Jumping ahead now, lap 16 of 27. Kimi Antonelli has closed up. Liam Lawson is into the pits on a set of hard tires, and here comes Antonelli. This time he's got the speed to sweep around the outside of us and drop us a position and into the points paying position. So we are now down in 11th place. Of course, we still have another pit stop to make, which will put us behind a couple of other cars. But here, lap 17 of 27, we should be, I believe, on our way into the pit lane.
Still looking good.
This time by usually about 10 laps is what the mediums were going to do, 9 to 10 laps. So it's either this lap or next lap that we bring in and go for our final set of medium tires to get to the end of the race. Joshua's doing decently behind us, only 1.3 seconds the margin between him and I. He's still on those soft compound tires, which are holding up all right for him. Ironically, it looks like they might be holding up better for him than the mediums did in the first stint, but we're going to dump a good chunk of battery to make sure we stay in the DRS of Kimi Antonelli just ahead of us. Looks like a Ferrari is into the pit lane. That promotes a Mercedes onto the podium. I was about to say the lead, but then I saw where the two Red Bulls were, which they're already most of the way through the S's. And it's probably going to be, well, Leclerc into the pits. So we're going to clear Leclerc. And we are on for our pit stop this next time by. So good use of the DRS to make up a little bit of time down the pit straight. Although now we are in the dirty air of Antonelli ahead. So take the good, you take the bad. But at this stage, it's essentially push hard, try and get close to Antonelli. Probably not affect an overtake on him, but make up whatever time we can. So when we come into the pits, make the change. Give ourselves the best shot of charging through for the final 9 laps of this Grand Prix. We'll have to see where we come out as far as position-wise if points are on the table. We're in the points just barely now, although that seems to be a bit of a factor via, what's the word I'm looking for? Pit strategy. Yeah, see? Brain farts. Yeah, close enough to get a decent slipstream off of Antonelli ahead of us. And hopefully make a little bit of space to the Haas behind. So into the chicane we go. One more time, and then we're going to grab a fresh set of tires and go for the final stint of this race. Looks like the Alpine jumping into the pits ahead of us as well. And here we are, and Tough getting the right rear off. So a slow pit stop, not what we needed. I believe looks like a slow pit stop for the Alpine as well. We actually come out ahead of him even with it, but now just a little bit of extra work to be done. He's got another set of soft tires on, as does the Haas behind us, so I would expect them to be hard charging to the end of this race. Maybe we could have gone softs as well, since we had, I think, an extra set, or a relatively fresh set, thanks to the way qualifying went. But I think the medium is just was the better choice around here. But we've got plenty of clean air in front of us. The idea is fast laps as much as we can. We're going to have to do a little bit of defending, I think, from the cars behind, unless their tires absolutely fall off a cliff. But based on what I've seen out of the AI so far this season, they are going to remain a thorn in my side before we get to the end of this one. And so we come out in P16. There's caution ahead. That is Kimi Antonelli out of the session. So DNF, that's one position for us, which is a decent help out. Our teammate is in the pit lane. We've got the pressure behind us, as is Bearman Alvin. So a good chunk of cars in the pit lane.
0.9 seconds.
And we are going to come out just behind Fernando Alonso again, so not quite close enough to get there, and really having to slow down as we're heavily under attack from Jack Doohan. So kind of where we were in the middle stint, except we're ahead of Doohan this time, but still have Alonso in front. That Aston Martin looks to be a decently quick car. I know it'll be probably he'll probably scamper off ahead of us for the points, but I believe ahead of
so the car ahead's come in and fitted the soft tyre.
Lewis Hamilton, there's a more bright blue dot, and I think that is one of the V-carbs that is on a one-stop strategy. So, still, what is this, 8 laps to go in this race. We're on lap 20 of 27. By no means is it over. We've only got to find one position. It doesn't look like Fernando Alonso is going to be the position we take, though. He is got those soft tires up to temperature and is really putting the hammer down. And do I get caught napping here? Is this where I forgot to pay attention? No, I think we just about stayed in the DRS range of Alonso without burning battery. It was very close, the amount of time he made. And into the pits was Gabriel Bortoleto. That's right. So we're going to get ourselves up into the points at the moment, but we do have Jack Doohan attacking the inside. We put the squeeze on him down into turn 1. He backs out. Left him just about enough space to take the inside line.
Repeat that, I've got some interference here.
And that was me trying to tell Mark to shut up, and apparently he doesn't like that in the race. That's the other thing with the live. You'll hear me use voice commands to talk to Mark. Another bit of a bug that's going on is sometimes later in the races, he stops giving the right information. Like when you ask about the car ahead, he'll just say, gap is point blah blah seconds, even though they'll be like 5 point something seconds out. And I'm trying to really get their recent lap times and, you know, their tires. How many more stops do they have left? How old are their tires? Things like that. Is a little buggy still. Especially when I want to ask about teammate status. But Fernando Alonso has well and truly checked out. We're going to jump ahead as we start the final lap of the race. Alonso has cleared Liam Lawson. We crossed the line 1.7 seconds back of Lawson, who is on those old hard tires. Ocon and Doohan started fighting quite a bit behind me, so they've dropped off and at least given me a tiny bit of breathing room for the moment. But it's the final lap. We are on much better tires, although they're still not happy tires, than the car ahead. And the idea is, can we get another position? We're in the points, and by how hard we're pushing, it's going to be hard for Ocon to catch us and overtake us without some kind of mistake. So I'm thinking I've got 1 point in the bag already, as Verstappen has already won the race, as we were just finishing up Sector 1. And you can see the time dwindling for Lawson. It's down to under a second. And I've managed to, in the pursuit, conserve a fair bit of battery to utilize. And now I'm really letting it eat. 55% of the battery left. And look at how slow he has to be coming through Spoon. Just doesn't have the grip. Little bit of a wiggle on throttle. And now putting the power down. Our last chance to overtake is going to be into the chicane. So the idea is get close, use the slipstream, cut to the inside as we go through 130R, side by side under braking. We've got the nose ahead, leave him space on the inside, but he just doesn't have the brakes to stick with it. Out of the final corner, get that battery down one last time, across the line, and we've grabbed a 9th place finish.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
A great victory in their own right today, Crofty, but you know, there's more to it than that as well. They're here on home soil for the power unit supplier, and that means a lot to them, and it means a lot to the team as well.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've absolutely loved watching that action today, and I'm sure these three have loved taking part. Here come our podium finishers. One of the all-time greats celebrates yet again. It's another podium, it's another top step for Max Verstappen. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
So the McLarens did real well on their one stop, moving up pretty significantly. Everybody else two stopped. Even Lawson actually two stopped. So I thought he was one stopping, but I guess he was on a two stop. That is 2 solid points for us. So it jumps us ahead of our teammate in the Drivers' Championship. So 2 points to 1 point as our team just continues to nip points away as much as we can. We are just ahead of the RBs as well. Yeah. Repairs. Probably going to be 10K repairs pretty much every week. I'm going to touch something with a nose. Does look like our fan sentiment has gone up, though, so we're going to gain a bonus. What is that going to be? Owner XP plus 10%. Fantastic. So that should allow us to start getting a little more of the owner development points a little, just that little bit quicker.
Unfortunately, one of the parts failed during development. We'll need to revisit the development area and give it another go.
Development failure is not great. Only 2 activity days available before the next Grand Prix weekend, so looks like corporate is the only thing we can do, and we're going to go ahead with some sponsor discoveries. I think should be just messages. Yeah, just messages for the team owner. Some more points on the board. Thank you, Mathis. Yeah. And what do we got next? I know we had that. You said we had that failed development, so we should go over and check out and see what that development is so we can restart it. Is this where I finally start to look at some of this stuff as I've kind of skipped it? Yeah. Performance, yeah. So just kind of checking the menu. So we do have accolades to earn in order to get fan rating. Okay, so we got to get the workforce up. Obviously, sponsor income, all that kind of stuff. But we got 2 top 10 finishes in 3 races for the team. And okay, this is where we'll find the driver standings when we're at the office. But you can see that DNF, not great for us in China, that DRS issue. Definitely hurt us. The facility upgrade done for engineering. That's wonderful to see. And let's take a look. Can we afford? I mean, we can afford it. Do we have development slots for any new research done? All right. There's completed research, so we should be able to get some new research going in both the powertrain and durability area. So we'll get the MGUK going. It's going to be 2 races before that gets researched and probably another race before it gets developed. Same for the spark plugs for a little extra oomph and power. Aero, we've got a research project in the pipeline already. Development, what do we have? Aero development failed. So would have been able to bring the or that would be the first upgrade. So we've got to go that one again, and then we can go for the next. And okay, looks like we get that piston power before the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, but not before Bahrain. So no expected upgrades showing up for the cars in Bahrain. And well, we've got the cash, so let's take a look. Maybe we start continuing the upgrades for our facilities. 7 days and 12 days before those 2 personnel and corporate facility upgrades are done. And again, just kind of taking a look, going for the cheapest upgrades. And as they get more expensive, they'll get more expensive. So 12 days before that one gets finished up. But this first season is all about building the baseline. Try and score some points where we can. I don't know why I'm going back to look at that. I literally just looked at it. So let's jump out and advance. Okay, research got completed for 2 things, so we should be able to start up development, I think, potentially. No, that's right. development pipelines are already full. So we will be able to start some new upgrades, though. And wow, almost half price is the beam wing. 270 resource points instead of 500. That's nice. And then what about chassis? I think was the other one we got. Does past me do the smart thing? Or am I going to stare at the screen for a second while I figure out what's going on? I'm not a smart man sometimes. There we go. Yep, plank is done. So we can do the rear floor under tray now. Some more weight redistribution underway. And yeah, we still got to wait for, 4 more days for that, 6 days for that, 6 days for that. So we should have some upgrades coming for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, a full package, but not for this coming up weekend in Bahrain. But thank y'all for joining me once again. I will catch you guys next time when we head to round 4. Y'all have a good one. Peace.